As someone who's a former member of the Mormon Church, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, our friend asks, when you come from strict religion and you're open, progressive, and diverse, has your family accepted this and you? When I stopped going to church, they found out in my 20s because I kind of kept it a secret. They did what a lot of Mormon parents would do, which is try to get you to come back to church, go back to church, even bribe you to go back to church. The bribery part, that kind of pissed me off. My dad had the audacity to say, I'll buy you a set of new tires. At this point, I was like, yeah, I got this. Maybe I will cut back on eating, but no, there's nothing you could bribe me with to go back to that cult way of living. At this point in my life, in my early 20s, I had established myself in the way that, the gym was my world. I had a job at the gym, which means I had a lot of gym friends. I had a good man with me, and that's all I needed. So, at one point, I sat my parents down, if you will, mostly my mom, because my dad really didn't need any convincing. But my mom, I was like, look, this is what's up. I don't need you guys. If you don't stop trying to get me to go to church, I am done. I do not need to come see you anymore. I don't need to call and tell you how I'm doing or whatever. I am done. You will not see me anymore if you don't stop trying to get me to go back to that. I was very serious. Leaving the Mormon Church was the best decision I've ever made in my life, and I only wish I had the guts to do it sooner. I'm not saying I didn't love my parents and my family, but I really wasn't close to very many of them except for my brother, who's 4 years older than me. He accepted me, ironically, when he got off of his Mormon mission. He and I were super tight. We wrote during his mission. We got super close while he was away, and we've still maintained a super close relationship. Like, I swear around him, I say whatever I want. He's confessed a lot of things to me that he's told nobody. But that was pretty much it, because as I got older, my wonderful relationship with my father, I hate that I distanced myself, but I just was in a place where parents weren't my thing. And my mom still being, in the church, like, I couldn't talk to her about anything. And that when I tried to open up to my mom about my life or things that I'd done, especially things that were bad, like drinking alcohol or smoking certain substances, it was stupid. Why do I keep trying? Why do I keep trying to share my life with this person when it goes sideways? A little bit of context. I was the first one in my family to get a tattoo, and I'm the only one out of my siblings to get tattooed. But when a certain nephew started to self-harm, who did they point the finger at? Me. Because I needed someone to blame. He couldn't have learned that on his own. That's fine, though. I didn't hurt my feelings. Whatever. I understand people need someone to blame, and parents don't want to take responsibility for their parenting. Cool, whatever. Now, I've got several nieces and nephews that have gone on to get tattooed who are all still in the church, because nowadays they'll do whatever it takes to keep people as members, so they, probably look the other way. And I'm sure, I've never heard this, but I always assume that maybe my siblings might have, it's all her fault, she's the one who, set the example. Then there was also that unforgettable summer where we were having a family reunion, and let's see, my siblings were trying to find who in the family could talk to me about covering up my scars, my scarification, my body modifications in the summertime. That was fun. That felt really good, because if their kids don't see it, then they won't do it, right? Yeah. But all in all, I have to say, when I threw the gauntlet down and told my parents, I will not be around you anymore if you keep talking to me about going back to church, they listened. They slowly backed away and did not bring it up or suggest it anymore. But that doesn't mean that we were all tight and close. No, it took a lot of me just kind of shutting down and keeping my life to myself from my parents and most of my, just because why bother anymore? Why try to have a relationship when someone is only allowed to think this much? I can't have conversations with people who have this much of an open mind. I need their mind to be completely open, and it's hard to, anyone who's an ex-Mormon who's tried to have conversation with most Mormons or members of their family who are especially old school Mormon, there's no point. Why bother? But I think at some point, my family just kind of was like, this is how she is. And that's fine because we love her. Maybe in a way that's like you're supposed to love your family members, but over time, it got a lot better. I have nieces and nephews who are having babies, and when we all get together for family dinners at my mom's house, it's usually a pretty good time. There's a lot of love and acceptance. I even sometimes slip and swear here and there, and no one's like freaking out about it. No one's, in fact, my nephew, he just kind of like turns to the side and kind of smirks like, I heard that, but it's not a big deal. When my dog passed, I didn't send out a family newsletter or anything, but word got out, and my oldest brother called me up and said, why didn't you tell me? We loved your dog. Why didn't, it's like, it's life. And he said, well, why don't you let us, take you out to dinner and we'll all go to a nice place? And I'm just like thinking, when do we usually do that? We don't, but I had to appreciate the effort of love, compassion, support, the way that you want your family to be. There are certain ones that I've talked about my relationship with my sister and the ups and downs and the offs and the ons, and I tell my mom how I still have to be filtered around her because God forbid I say shit. That would be bad. I've talked about my mom mentioning me in her prayers over the food we eat, and I've asked her not to do that. I've asked her not to mention my name to her God, but she still does that, and I've come to terms with it as being just my mom being my mom. I've heard hundreds of stories of families ripped apart because one person didn't want to go to church anymore and they disowned them. And I have to look at my family and think, wow, how lucky am I? I'm super lucky. I'm the youngest, so yeah, I was a bit of a brat. Probably still am in some ways. But my siblings, my brothers, most of them, they're pretty awesome. I go see them occasionally at their work, and it's always a good time. My family has come a long ways with me. A long ways, and I have to give them massive amounts of props for that. And love. Because I never thought I'd see the day, 20 years ago, never thought I'd see the day that I'd have the relationship with my family that I have now, despite this cult that is, to this day, one of the worst things that's on this earth, in my opinion.